Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. My name is Keenan. My co-host is Grayson, who's sitting right across from me.
Of course.
What's up, bro?
Dude, it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks? Is it just 2 weeks?
2 weeks since we recorded. Yeah.
Last episode. I was on vacation last week.
Tragic. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm sure that was great.
It was fun. Funny story. Before we get into everything, as soon as I got to vacation, or whenever I got to Orlando, which is where I went for Disney.
Yeah.
And I checked into the hotel. I went to get back into my car to drive around to wherever the room I was staying in.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I locked my keys in my car.
Are you serious?
The minute I get there, I saw my trunk was open. I don't know why. It was open. So I sat in my car, and then I noticed the trunk light was on. So then I hopped out really quickly, and I went to shut it. As soon as I shut the trunk door, my car door shut.
Oh, no.
And then I just was like, I never thought I locked it. So I went to open it, and my door was locked. So I spent like the first hour of vacation waiting for a locksmith to come.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
the
worst part was, this was the most embarrassing part, was that as I was waiting, I basically pulled up at the front entrance of the hotel.
Yeah.
And there's like enough room for one car to get through. And
Yeah.
that's where everybody goes to check in, you know? So I'm blocking the entrance, and nobody else can get through to check in or whatever. Yeah. So that's how I started off my vacation. Other than that, though, it was fun, and
I saw
I
you
got to go to Disney.
took a picture with a
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man statue.
That was actually Tobey Maguire in that picture.
The real Tobey Maguire?
That was him, yeah.
How's he doing these days?
He's good. He's struggling on the oxygen side of things because he's in a glass case.
Okay, yeah.
But
can you just you should have broke him free and then tell him to be to go to Sony's gates and scream to be in Spider-Verse 2?
Yeah, I didn't think of that at the time. I just thought about getting a good Instagram photo.
You have to do this for the people, man.
I know.
What are you doing?
I know. I kind of effed up that one. But yeah, being at Disney was cool. I got really excited for Galaxy's Edge.
Dude, so yeah, I was about to say, is because you didn't go to California, you went to Orlando.
Yeah, I went to Orlando.
Yeah, speaking of Galaxy's Edge, I've been very hyped for it. I've been seeing a lot of videos of people going and all of the cool stuff, and I'm like, I definitely want to go when Orlando's opens or whatever. It's going
to be bigger and better.
We should totally do that together. I really want to get a group of people and do
You're
it.
Definitely doing it this year, right?
Maybe. There's a slight chance. It's more likely that it'll probably be about February of next year.
Okay.
But even then, I think it'd be really cool to film a trip.
I'm 100% down to do that.
So sick.
I'll start saving right now. I'm really excited.
Cole already wants to go. He's
yeah.
I told him, I was like, I'm probably there's a good chance I'll go within the next year. Within the next year. And then he was like, please take me with you, whatever. And I was like, I want to get a bunch of people to go, but
I'll drive. I don't even care.
Are you serious?
I will.
Oh my God. If we actually do that, then I'd be down.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind driving.
Okay, maybe we're going
Let's
to
do
Galaxy's Edge, guys.
We're planning our trip right now on the podcast. Like Grayson said, though, it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode. Grayson's actually going on vacation. Really selfish of him to do that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you're going on vacation this week, so we're not sure if we're gonna do an episode or not.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye out for us on social media, and we'll keep you guys updated. I wanted to say before we get into all of the news that's happened this week, because there's been a lot of stuff that's happened since our last episode. I wanted to remind everybody to subscribe to the podcast if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and follow us on Spotify. I've been doing some research, and those are the best way, or that's the best way that you can help us grow the podcast, is by subscribing, rating it, sharing it. So if you're enjoying the content, even if you're listening on like YouTube or SoundCloud, just go to Spotify too and follow us. It helps us out a ton, and we'd really appreciate that. And also just want to quickly shout out our social media accounts. You can follow us at Comic Blast Official on Instagram. Yeah. And then Grayson's been doing a lot of stuff on Twitter for us recently.
Yeah, E3 is currently going on.
Yep.
We'll get into a bit of that with some of the news pieces, but I've been trying to cover the important panels. I'll try to cover a few the bigger ones and stuff, but yeah, I'm trying to hop on to Instagram and Twitter. We're both trying to kind of cooperate and get some more stuff on there to make it a bit more engaging. So yeah.
100%. Yeah. So Twitter at _. And you can follow us there. We just recently reached 100 followers on that. That was really awesome. And yeah, other than that, let's jump into all of the news that's happened.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got about 2 weeks stuff like worth to cover, but there's been a more recent stuff that I think is personally more interesting. So the first big thing is going back to the whole E3 thing is we finally got gameplay for Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep. And
kind of like what's about going on like in the plot and the setting and that stuff. And I know not everybody who listens was like a big avid gamer or whatever, but I think it's within our like territory.
It's that, and I think that Star Wars is one of those rare properties where everything matters.
Yeah.
So video games matter to the canon of Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And you'll see crossover, and like we've already kind of seen some crossover for characters that have been in movies.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to cover video games, especially when it comes to Star Wars.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what's going on with this game?
So they showed off gameplay. We'd already figured out like kind of what the plot was and stuff from the reveal at Star Wars Celebration.
Right.
It's being set like in between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. He plays a guy named Cal Kestis. He's like kind of a Padawan, a little bit above that.
Yeah.
And it's essentially it's a lightsaber like fighting game. You're trying to live the fantasy of being a Jedi. The demo was about 15 minutes long, and it's set on Kashyyyk, which
really cool.
Which is really cool. I was not expecting it to be set on Kashyyyk. I was expecting some new planet.
Right.
And it shows a bit of some like traversal elements and him using his force powers to like swing on vines and double jump, all things like that.
Yeah.
And it felt very Uncharted-esque to me, if anybody's ever played those games. Just simple kind of platforming stuff. And then he runs into some rebels on Kashyyyk. So while he's on this mission, he's trying to find Tarful, who was a character in Revenge of the Sith, a bro of Chewbacca. And he's Tarful's like the chieftain. He's leading the resistance on Kashyyyk. I got more details, by the way, from this. Just a side note is I read the Game Informer article about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of really interesting details. So he runs into Saw Gerrera, of all people, which was very shocking to me. I was not expecting for us to get that
Pleasant
big of
surprise.
a reveal, but yeah, and it's fully voiced by Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And so Saw is there trying to find Tarful as well, and they kind of team up. And also in today's thing with Xbox, they showed a bit more of that, and they kind of expanded. So before this, what was happening in the EA Play demo, you get to like you climb on like the vines on the side of an AT-AT and then take control of it. Which this was in the details of the Game Informer article, so this was nothing new to me, but it was cool to see it. And that's how he runs into Saw Gerrera. But anyways, he's going around and he's trying to find Tarful. Some really cool action set pieces that like they're just trying to show off the combat. It reminded me a lot, and even the Game Informer article that I read is very reminiscent of the Dark Souls games, which most people think is like, oh, Dark Souls, that's so hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't look nearly as hard or as difficult as a Dark Souls game, but they said it's very reminiscent of that in terms of its combat, even that of the newly released Sekiro that came out in March. So it's not like it's not a beat 'em up, it's not a hack and slash. It's not like it's got some Force Unleashed elements, but you're not like this Force-powered god. You know? It's very like thoughtful and weighted, and you have
every move is intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is intentional, and you have to really think about what your next move is. And in the article, they were saying that the Jedi are these trained warriors. You know, they're not just like force pushing everybody and stuff. They're not like going crazy. Like they have to. Use
they're like samurais. Like
oh yeah. That's a perfect example.
They're very disciplined in the way that they fight.
Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to build up Cal and his abilities and his lightsaber and all of that stuff. And so it goes through. He runs into a Purge Trooper, which is from the comics, and they're kind of like Imperial Magna Guards almost. They've got these electro staffs. Yeah, they're beefier enemies for sure. Runs into some Incinerator Troopers which I don't think I've ever seen from the Imperial side. I've always seen the First Order versions, but I've never seen the Imperial Incinerator Troopers. Or whatever, Flame Troopers, I guess is what they're called. Then you run into some fauna that's on the planet. So there's like these beetles that are like attacking the troopers. And then these gigantic spiders called web weavers. And those were from Star Wars Aftermath Life Debt, I believe, according to what I've looked up. So those are from the books. So they incorporated that. And then towards the end, he's trying to free these prisoners. He frees these Wookiee prisoners because for some reason in Star Wars games they love for you to free Wookiees. They did it with Republic Commando. They did it with KOTOR. They did it with The Force Unleashed. There's just this thing about like they just really want you to free Wookiees. Yeah. Which I'm down with because I love Wookiees. But anyway, I mean, stop the Wookiee oppression. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, as you're freeing, there's like no guards, and then a KX droid of K2SO fame. It's a female version, I believe, but still, these big, lumbering, athletic, like beasts of droids, and comes up in a sneaks attack, and then it shows like a quick montage. So the demo was really cool. It didn't blow me away by any means. I was expecting a little bit more, and the combat isn't like super action packed. So I'm hoping like this. So they said this is about 3 hours into the game. So I'm imagining later on in the game, you're going to get more Force abilities. You're going to become more powerful, so you can actually do a lot cooler stuff. Yep. But he does some things like he pulls them towards it and like impales them. He obviously does some Force pushes. Yeah. This new ability called Force Slow, which they said is not the same as Kylo Ren's Force Freeze.
It looks a lot like it.
But it looked a lot like it. Yeah. They were like they're trembling, and even the blaster bolt is like being slowed down. Yeah. So it feels like maybe it's like a weaker version of that.
Just slowing it instead of stopping it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a cool part where a stormtrooper shoots a blaster bolt at him, and then like he pulls the trooper to him, and while he slows the bolt down, and then throws him into the blaster bolt, which is kind of humiliating for that trooper. So, and then the Game Informer article talked about some other stuff where like you'll get to customize your ship, which is called the Stinging Mantis, I believe, or something like that. It's not your ship. It's a character that you run into. It's their ship, who is apparently a Jedi as well, and thinks that she can bring back the Order. So, and you can also customize your lightsaber and your outfit, which is really nice. I like that stuff. I like being able to customize.
Customization's so freaking important to me.
It really is, yeah.
More than it probably should be, but
I feel like you're the same way as me, look, but I love being able to I spend hours just customizing my guy to make my guy look cool and feel cool, because that's a part of the thing is like you want to feel like that.
You want it to kind of like your personality to kind of be within this character.
That's why I love in Spider-Man like the different outfits and stuff. Like every person has their own favorite outfits. Exactly. Like I know some people who absolutely hate this outfit, but in Spider-Man PS4, the bulletproof suit, I love that suit. I don't know why. I think it's really it's funky looking. But it's black and with the gold. I just think it's really neat. So everybody kind of has their own vibe to it. But they said you can change your color out and things. And then that also reminds me, I've been playing this new game, or not a new game, but I bought a game recently called Ghost Recon Wildlands, and the customization in that game is absolutely unparalleled. There's just crazy amounts of stuff from your earpieces to your goggles to your mask, everything like that. It's super in depth, so I'm glad they're gonna have. I don't know if it's gonna be that in depth, but I believe it's gonna be different outfits, maybe along the lines of the Force Unleashed or even Spider-Man. But they said you can get ponchos and stuff like that, so make your guy look as rogue-like or as Jedi-like as you want, which is really cool to me.
Absolutely,
especially being able to customize your ship. So I don't know what I kind of went in pretty in detail with all that stuff, but
you gave me information that I didn't know about. So far, it's really tough. Who did? What was the studio that did Battlefront? DICE.
So
and then
DICE,
who's doing this one again?
Respawn. They made the Titanfall games.
Okay, I love the Titanfall games.
Yeah.
So that does get me excited.
Yeah, the crew there. So the director of this game, he directed God of War 3, which is apparently a very great game. Not the most recent God of War,
right?
But it was an action adventure
Sure.
game. Vince Zampella, who's the CEO of Respawn, he did the Modern Warfare campaigns. He was the director for those, which are very good campaigns.
The better of the
definitely
the franchise.
I think he did the first 2 Modern Warfares, which, in my opinion, are like top tier Call of Duty campaigns. So they know how to make a single player story, especially with Titanfall 2. That was a really great campaign. So it's just the thing is most of those were shooters, and so I'm like I'm wondering how this is going to translate. But then again, they've got I believe I may be getting his name wrong, but I believe it's Stiggs Asmussen is his name, and he was the one who directed God of War 3, the game director for that. So that gives me a lot of hope, and I'm really liking the way this game looks, and I'm just hoping that they've still got a while to refine it. I believe it comes out in November. So they're still hard at work developing this game, but I'm very intrigued by what I saw. It wasn't mind-blowing, but I'm glad it's not a beat 'em up or a hack and slash.
Sure.
I'm glad it's you can hit a guy with a saber and they usually go down one hit, especially the troopers, because that was one of the most annoying things was I don't like in Star Wars games where when you hit a trooper and then their health bar goes down and it's like you're hitting them with a baseball bat. It doesn't go through them,
They don't feel real.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like you're.
That's what I did notice about the gameplay is that you could see a burn mark.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Going
I love
across
that little
it.
because they're not getting cut in half, but which
Right.
I love that stuff too. There was a mod that I got in the Jedi Academy games where it would actually have full on dismemberment.
Right.
So you could do a slash and then it would it wasn't 1-to-1, but if you did a horizontal sweep, then it would cut them in half here.
I saw one also. There was another clip where he just straight up sticks his lightsaber straight through one of the stormtroopers.
So he just grabs them and just stabs them.
Exactly. I really like that.
Finn in The Force Awakens does it.
Very much like that. Yeah.
I like that as well, and you can see the hole. Of
exactly.
The lightsaber.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
not there's not blood, splatting out or anything like that, but it's just a nice detail compared to Battlefront, where you just feel like you're hitting plastic dummies.
Yeah,
times.
I don't like hitting people and making it feel like I'm using a baseball bat to hit guys. I'm this is a lightsaber. It can cut through walls, almost any material.
Right.
It should be able to just slice through these guys, no problem. And then obviously with the beefier enemies, that gigantic spider, they're not going to die in one hit.
Sure.
So he stabs it in its thorax, same thing with the Purge Trooper. Since I'd imagine the Purge Trooper has a bit better armor.
Sure.
And
you'll come across tougher enemies that will be.
There was a lot of enemy variety, which I really liked. There was your Stormtroopers, there was the Scout Troopers with the batons, Purge Troopers, Flame Troopers. I imagine we'll run into some jetpack troopers, some jump troopers, and then the main antagonist is the second sister, which is the Inquisitor, and I guarantee there's going to be. They said there's going to be bosses and mini bosses throughout the game, which is very exciting to me. And so I'm hoping though that the theory going on right now with the second sister is that many people think it is Barriss Offee from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Which, if people don't know, she bombed the Jedi Temple and framed Ahsoka Tano and turned to the dark side. But she did not die, and we have not seen her in canon since.
That'd be a cool twist.
They have she has this mask on. She's got a cape and everything. I'm it's got to be Barriss, because originally in Rebels, the concept for the seventh sister, who was also a Miri Allen, which is the species of Barriss Offee, she was originally going to be Barriss, but then they changed it to make it just another Miri Allen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm I hope they make the second sister Barriss, because then it would be really interconnected. Then it'd be connected to Rogue One and Clone Wars and all of these different things.
That's my favorite thing, especially about Star Wars.
Yes.
It's the smallest things, but if you find a way to connect these things,
I think that was one of the best things that Solo did.
Yeah.
It's
even Rogue One too.
Yeah, Rogue One
the
and
spin-off
Solo,
films.
I don't mind new aliens, but I also like when they have those legacy aliens. And that's why I say Solo, I think, did it really well. Is they had a Rodian, and they even had what was his name? Warwick Davis's character from the Phantom Menace was in there. They mentioned Aura Singh, like how Tobias Beckett had killed Aura Singh, and Corellia was a planet we'd always heard, and stuff. That was probably the most interconnected film for me, is that it felt like connected to things we knew from the prequels. It felt like it was connected to things in the original trilogy.
It definitely didn't shy away from connecting to the prequels.
I mean, Darth Maul is in it, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
It's one of the biggest things of the prequels, So that's what I'm really hoping that Fallen Order does. That they said also in the article that you can go to any planet at any time, and it's actually free to explore.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. That's awesome.
I actually forgot to mention that. So and they don't hold your hand. They highlight important places on the map, and you find your way to them.
So you can still kind of have you have your objectives that you need to do in order to progress through the story.
Yeah.
But you can still have your own little side adventure going around.
And they said there's areas that you have to come back to later on in the game because you won't have the powers or the equipment to access them.
I dig it. So it's probably better to take your time progressing through the story and doing all these little things that you can going along the way.
Yeah, they said they reward you for exploration because you can find different pieces of gear and equipment and things to help kind of level you up, and because there's going to be a skill tree with skill points, as a lot of games do.
Yep.
And they also said that 50% of the planets are going to be ones that we're already familiar with, and 50% are going to be new ones.
That's cool.
Which I'm like, that's the perfect ratio for me.
Yeah.
And so we already see that with Kashyyyk. And I'm hoping we'll maybe get a connection with. It'd be really cool to see Kanan from Rebels in there, or maybe even Ahsoka. I don't know. The time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kanan pops up.
That's the thing.
Ahsoka, I feel like it's a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, it's harder to say, really.
It's a shame that Ahsoka is one of the most popular Star Wars characters, loved by sequel trilogy fans, original trilogy fans, and prequel trilogy fans, and we still haven't gotten much of her outside of Rebels and Clone Wars.
Rebels, Clone Wars, and a book.
Yeah,
that's been the most of Ahsoka's
She's so deserving of being in a film.
Yeah, we're gonna get more, thankfully, from Clone Wars season 7, but I hope eventually at some point we get her in some kind of live action rendition. I think it'd be cool to see her in a Disney Plus series, if not a movie. I think it would just be a Disney Plus series. The Cassian show might be a good option. Even the Mandalorian would be really cool if she was if they did it in a future season, because we know she's alive after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So even then, having a more adult. The question is just how do you properly get her in a live action look, because she was initially in animated form.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as her? Would you get Ashley Eckstein doing the voice, but somebody else doing the
Interesting.
It's hard to say, because with Darth Maul, there was they got Ray Park, but then they got
Sam Witwer
to do the voice, and it's so they could do something along the lines of that. I'd be even happy with just a cameo from Ahsoka and maybe in Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Because I believe during the timeline of this, she'll be Fulcrum, which is her kind of rebel alias thing. Where she and eventually Cassian becomes the new Fulcrum. So.
I think we're gonna definitely get some sort of surprise characters.
Oh yeah.
Pop. I mean, freaking Saw Gerrera already is a surprise character.
All right, cool, soft.
Yeah, it blows my mind that they're able to keep these things a secret.
Yeah.
Because nobody usually you hear you hear a report that Forrest Whitaker went in to do some sort of work or something like that, and
I think it's cool that he's so dedicated to the role. I mean, he was in Rogue One.
Yeah, he's committed to it.
And then he was voiced over a lot of episodes in Rebels, and now he's in a video game. I'm that's really cool that he's so passionate about this character. He keeps on coming back, and I think that's what a lot of people do with Star Wars is once they go into Star Wars, they're oh yeah, of course I'm going to go back.
Exactly.
It's Star Wars. The more I get to be in it, even if it's not live action, I'm still getting to play this character, which is really neat.
Yeah.
And I like when people do that.
And the fans just eat it up.
Oh yeah.
For things like that.
I'd love to see. That's kind of why I would really like to see Donald Glover again as Lando, because I just think he was so good. In some capacity, I think a show would be kind of cool, or just an appearance or something. But I think he was such a highlight of me for Solo.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm diverting to Solo so much, but maybe I think I need to watch that movie.
I think you do.
Recently. I've just been kind of itching. That might be what I do in my plane ride.
That'd be cool.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check in and make sure you're doing that. So that's our impressions for Jedi: The Fallen Order. I'm excited for it, but I'm also cautious about
Cautiously
it.
optimistic.
Exactly. Even though I did enjoy Battlefront,
Yeah.
I thought the multiplayer was obviously the highlight of it.
Yeah, the
and
campaign
then the
was
campaign
nothing
was
to-
just it was such a disappointment, and it was very much hyped up during Celebration, the campaign.
Yeah.
The idea that they were gonna have a campaign.
I think the biggest thing for me with Battlefront was that like they hyped it up so much that you were playing as an Imperial.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome! Like this is so cool.
And then you
get to-
kind of weren't.
And then yeah, exactly. Literally 2 missions in, you're already you're already
switching sides.
And I'm like, there's so many stories of people switching sides. I'm like, this would have been cool to have a fresh take of her just staying with the Imperial.
She could have been with the Imperial till the very end, and then like ended the campaign with her having that aha moment or that switch.
I think it would have been cool if she just died with the Imperials. To be honest,
Yeah, even that.
I think that would have just been like to show that people really did believe in the Empire and not like they there was just some people that thought the Empire was the truth, like that was the way. I think it would have been cool if maybe one of the characters in her squad turned, but then 2 of them stayed together.
Yeah.
I don't know, but who am I? I'm not a writer, I guess.
It's just this game's going to be really interesting, in my opinion, just based off the Battlefronts, and it's still EA, even though it's a new studio that's doing this. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out.
I don't think EA is going to be able to like tamper with it too much. Like the only thing that they said there's not going to be any microtransactions and it's single player only, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much they could do. I think they could still make a profit off of this as well. I'd be fine if they added like DLC down the line or whatever, but I'm curious how they would do that, especially with like the way the timeline works out, because I'm fully expecting at the end of this game we die.
Yeah.
Like it's Jedi. The Jedi have to keep on dying.
If this game ends up being successful, I'll hope people rally around it to just show EA that we do want story-driven. Yeah, we want story-driven games. But yeah, I think we can move on from that. That's really, really cool. Tomorrow, there's going to be, is it Square Enix who's doing their Avengers presentation. So Grayson will probably be tweeting out about that.
Yeah. So there was some details that Keenan actually didn't know about, but about last week, so they confirmed the title that it's just called Marvel's Avengers, very similar to Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yep.
So when I hear that, I suspect it's going to be in the same universe as Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's just my suspicion, because I feel like Marvel Games is trying to build out this kind of cohesive universe, very similar to their movies, which I think is cool. They can make it different and things like that. But also with a banner this week, they confirmed that it's going to be on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Google Stadia, which is a new platform that Google's coming out with, which actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But I won't get too much into that. You can do your own research there. And then PC. Marvel's Avengers, apparently, according to something that was put on the E3 website and then was quickly taken down, but was pretty much official, is that it's going to be somewhat of a open world kind of action adventure kind of RPG-esque game, where essentially it's a co-op game. I believe it's 4-player co-op, and you assume like a mantle of like an Avenger, and it has really in-depth skill trees. And they said it's actually along the lines of like, according to other leaks that kind of coincide with this, is that it's actually similar to the game Destiny in the sense that you're building up this power fantasy, and you're getting you like costumes and gear and stuff, but you're not getting you weapons, if that makes sense. So it's not like a looter shooter thing, but it's an action RPG. And so they're going to have like really in-depth skill trees and these big environments where it's like, it's not completely open world, like one big world, but there's like different like areas that you can, so like I'd
does
imagine
sound like Destiny.
So like Wakanda could be one.
Oh
New
my
York
God.
could be one. Freaking.
I just got really excited when you
Savage
said
Lands,
that.
like all these different areas. And they said according to some of the leaks, the plot is that like you start off as Captain Marvel, not the new Captain Marvel, or not. Sorry.
Miss Marvel?
Yes, Miss Marvel. Okay. Sorry, not Captain Marvel. So you start off as Kamala Khan.
Okay.
And you're trying to, and so the Avengers have just kind of been split apart. There's been this whole thing, and then you slowly figure out, and like apparently you quickly get Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, I believe. And so she's trying to like go around and get all of these characters, and so you can unlock and play as them.
Okay, as the story goes.
So yeah.
Okay.
And you're trying to like bring them back together. but it sounds really cool to me. Like this does sound.
I really like RPG games.
I was about to say, I like if I can like have my own custom Thor, if that makes sense. Like for example, like I can choose the way my Thor looks. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I want him to have the winged helmet.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to have sleeves, and I want to have these awesome bracers, and maybe have electricity running through him.
Yeah.
Maybe no cape, and like I don't know, like and he has his axe or something like that. Or maybe like just sleeveless, no helmet, and an axe.
Yeah.
Or maybe he has his helmet and he has like a modified version of like Mjolnir, or maybe not even Stormbreaker, but like in different interpretations, like and especially in the Ultimate comics, like Mjolnir is an axe on one side and a hammer on the other, so it's kind of like a double-sided thing. So it would be really cool stuff like that. Like Captain America, it'd be neat if you could have like his like a leather jacket on, and maybe like a leather jacket and jeans, but then have like maybe like him have no mask, but
right.
then also has his shield, maybe even like a pistol or something, like maybe a World War II style.
Yeah.
Iron Man could go crazy with his stuff. Even Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, like even Hulk would be cool to have like maybe a Professor Hulk kind of style thing, or like him be more brutal in the sense, and like change his hair and like his shorts,
right?
And, all of this, maybe his color tone, like maybe it's a deeper green or a grayer green. All of this stuff, like just to kind of go in depth and really flesh out your abilities with these builds. And it's really hard to say just based on these leaks, because you could think with a lot of different things.
You look at Square Enix. What have they done? They've done Kingdom Hearts.
Square Enix has done a lot of stuff because they
Final Fantasy.
But they've done they do the Just Cause games.
Oh, okay,
they do Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy. A big game that was kind of underrated that they did was called Sleeping Dogs. It was kind of like a GTA style knockoff, but it had really cool fighting. They've done a lot of stuff.
So what do you think like we're gonna get out of? What do you think we're gonna get in terms of fighting style or combat?
I'm imagining it's going to be it's not going to be like a beat 'em up or like a hack and slash per se. Like I don't think there's going to be like combos, but I think it may be like the sense where like maybe you use your triggers to kind of like punch or like use your abilities and stuff. Like I think it's going to be very ability based.
Okay.
So like every character has kind of a different role to play. And so like you can maybe upgrade Captain America's shield to bounce off more targets, or absorb more damage to play more a defensive role. Something like kind of like that, where I think it's going to have like a role system with this RPG element, and not be much as just like Ultimate Alliance, where it's like you're just pressing the X button to beat people up with your friends, you know?
Yeah.
And like I think it's going to be really focused on abilities. I also don't think it's going to be like a top-down thing. I think it's going to be like a third person. You are behind the camera, and maybe have these awesome like team up moves and stuff. It's just like I could speculate all day, but it's so hard to say, like, because we've seen literally nothing about this game. But I don't think it's going to be another Ultimate Alliance game. I think it's going to be, or in the vein of Ultimate Alliance. I think it's going to be very much like a new thing, a new type of genre, or not genre, but a new type of Marvel game that we haven't really seen before. We'll see tomorrow. I'm excited for it though, but I mean, all of the detail that it says like makes it seem really interesting. And they said that like down the line there could be like these expansions, or at least I've heard people talk about like there could be like these big expansions where like they have like raids and stuff. Would be really cool, like very much like Destiny or maybe even Anthem, in the sense that like it's very ability based.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm really. I don't know if I'm necessarily as excited as I'm more intrigued than excited. Like I just want to know more about this game.
Yeah.
Like because I can't get excited about a game until I know what the game is like. Like you can show me CG trailers all day, and I'm like that plot, whatever looks cool. That was the thing with the Xbox press conference today. Is there was a lot of games that they showed CG trailers. I'm like, cool, glad this game exists.
Right.
Literally, I cannot be excited for this game because I do not know
to see it in action.
Exactly. Like that was the same thing with like when Marvel's Spider-Man got announced. I was like, they showed a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, okay, I get the sense of this, but I need to see more. And then the next year they showed gameplay, and I was like, this looks awesome. Is it open world? And then as soon as they confirmed open world, I was like, this looks and the more I learned about it, the more excited I got. I'm like, I need to know more about a game and the way it plays, because it can be like they came out with this John Wick game, And you know, first you say John Wick game, and I'm like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And it's like a top-down strategy game, and I'm like, well, that doesn't sound cool to me. Like, you plan out your attacks and stuff, and I'm like, I'm sure people can eat that up, but for me, I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I want this awesome like shooter where you do like all these cool abilities and stuff.
There was a game that came out. I may have talked about this on the podcast before. It was called Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, and I stand by it as one of the best RPG games that ever existed, and most like
I'm gonna look this up.
Unheard of. Nobody played it except for me game, but it's very strategy based, and you're kind of you play as one character, but you have a group. You kind of have like you have your own little fellowship, so you have a group of characters.
Yeah.
And you have like an elf character, you have a dwarf character, and you also kind of like have run-ins with the characters from the movie. So you're kind of like following along with the movie, and then have these like run-ins with them. But
I see it now. So it looks like almost kind of like a Final Fantasy
it
style
came out around
Lord of
that
the
like
Rings.
time where that kind of
I'm
got
looking
popular.
at it and I'm like, you can build up your character, and like the way the fight is, like you choose like your powers, and then
It was
it's
so
like a turn based.
like I wouldn't want that kind of combat style because it's very much like playing Dungeons and Dragons, where you're kind of like
rolls.
It's like
back and forth.
yeah, exactly. It's like this character, you click on that character and you choose what attack you want them to do, and they run over there and whack them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that, but in terms of like having like a group. Like a core group of characters, and the fact that you got to customize every single one of those characters, whether it be the way that they looked, the armor that they had, what all they actually had in terms of loot. Like each character had a different loot,
stats and their gear.
Exactly,
and
it was all different, and you got to customize all of it. So you're responsible for all of these characters, and that's what I would like for these Avengers.
That's like a good way to put it, honestly, and that's what I'm kind of getting that vibe. It's just with the way the combat is, it's going to be more integrated into where you have more control over what you're doing, and it feels a bit more interactive rather than it being like a more traditional RPG.
Yeah.
But I think the way what you're saying, like I get the feeling all of that's going to be in there. That's what I'm hoping, at least, and I'm very excited for this game.
Me too.
I hope it.
We'll see. The podcast is going to come out, and everybody's already going to know, and people are going to be like, wow, they were really off on this.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, wow, they were spot on.
I mean, according to all the leaks and stuff, that's what we're describing. That's what it sounds like. And even with just the that piece of news that came out and was quickly taken down, like it adds up with that. So we'll see tomorrow, I guess. You guys will probably see more of it than we do, but if we hear more about it, we'll certainly talk about it the next time that we can. So yeah, that's about everything with Marvel's Avengers. So yeah, we move on to the next thing.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so the next thing is I really don't know how to put this. Maybe a tragedy or a disappointment.
Okay, well, we'll start with this.
Okay.
Grayson, what did you think of Dark Phoenix?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
So it's been how many days since it came out? 4 or 5 days?
Today's Sunday. It came out Friday.
Okay. The movie's bombing in terms of the box office.
Yeah.
Lowest opening for an X-Men film. I'm not surprised, like, one bit.
I'm not either.
At all by this.
Like, have not been interested by this movie one bit. Like, well, I mean, I've been interested in the sense that it's just X-Men, and I wanted to see, but then the more and more stuff came out, I'm like, I'd rather see Avengers Endgame again, which I did this past week.
Me too.
So
I saw it in Disney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, third time. It was a packed theater too.
Are you serious?
It was literally people cheering.
Was it cheering again and everything?
It was cheering. I also had to look. Okay, so there was a drunk guy right next to me.
Oh, really?
And then there was a woman who brought in a baby who was maybe 2 years old.
Please
that
don't
kept on
do that.
commentating on everything.
The woman or the baby?
The baby, but they were like all like I would have said something, but we were kind of near the front, and the woman was like all the way towards the back. Halfway through the movie, the baby fell asleep. I'm assuming because it just shut up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we had a drunk guy that was right next to me who kept on trying to talk to me throughout the movie, and just like smelled like beer.
Was he like a happy drunk guy?
No, he's like, somebody shut that baby up or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Yeah, so it wasn't like the best experience, but it was really cool to see that so many people were still going to see the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I
like
saw
when
it
like
third
the
time.
Avengers Assemble moment, that people like scream.
Everybody,
and
dude. Everybody for everything. Like it was just like being there opening night.
I want to do that one more time. Like but see.
Let's go take a trip.
Okay,
Go to Orlando.
Disney.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I would just I want to go into a packed theater again because I went to go see it and there was like 4 people in there.
Oh, really?
I went to see it with a friend, and it was nice being kind of quiet.
Yeah.
But, this is funny because it shows how much we'd rather talk about Avengers than
We
Dark
literally
Phoenix.
just skipped right over Dark
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I guess we should go back to Dark Phoenix, but
I-
because we could talk about.
I was
Avengers
so
all
happy
day.
with Avengers, but yeah, we can move on.
Yeah, no, we got to do it, man. We have to.
So
talk
Dark Phoenix, we're probably gonna see it eventually.
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 I think I'm gonna see it on a vacation with my buddy up there where I'm going. But like I'm really not looking that forward to it.
It feels like a chore.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like I feel like I have to go see it.
Yeah.
Like I just.
It's frustrating. It's
It
funny
really
because I
is.
have people who know that I'm like really into superhero movies,
And
they ask me about it. I'm like, I don't want to see that movie.
Yeah. And like I don't get the feeling that it's bad as nearly everybody is
No.
saying it is, but it's just like because of the MCU, like all of my hype for the X-Men franchise has just completely dissipated.
Yeah.
The last time I was truly excited for an X-Men movie was Days of Future Past. No, Logan.
Logan. Yeah.
I mean Deadpool 2 I was excited for, but like the Deadpool movies I put in their own league. Like Deadpool and Logan, I'm like those are like
Yeah, they're not
they're
X-Men.
just but like Apocalypse, I wasn't excited for that. Days of Future Past, I was mildly excited for. But yeah, the last movie I was truly, really excited for was like the Logan and Deadpool movies, and those are just like so separate from the real X-Men that it's like I just don't care.
This whole Fox thing is Fox X-Men franchise is one of the most confusing things because you look at the MCU and they kind of like found a formula. They make every film fresh, but they kind of stick to their formula with what works.
Yeah.
Especially ever since they moved from Paramount to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of stuck to their own little thing. And then when it comes to X-Men, it's very hit and miss. You can have a film that's like
Amazing.
Logan is one of the best comic book movies ever
of all
made.
time, yes.
And then you have movies like Apocalypse or The Last Stand. Days of Future Past. I was actually thinking about this on the way over here because I was thinking about what we were going to be talking about, and I was like, man, I would love to just go rewatch Days of Future Past because I love that movie.
It's a good movie, yeah.
And I was thinking about how they kind of sparked some sort of new energy into the X-Men franchise with First Class, and I thought that was a great movie too. I love that movie.
And then they milked it.
Yeah, and it's just like I was thinking, I'm like, what happened? Like they really went backwards recently.
They really did.
The best things that they do are the one-offs, like Logan, Deadpool, like these outside films that don't feel as connected to the rest of the X-Men.
Yeah, that's what makes me excited about Deadpool is they can easily just put that in the MCU.
Exactly.
Like they're gonna have the easiest time with Deadpool out of any character. That and the Fantastic Four, but they're not gonna
It's what's weird is before I was looking at my YouTube subscriptions and I never would see X-Men stuff on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And now they were posting
promoting and all that
X-Men,
stuff.
yeah, like Dark Phoenix and stuff. And
I saw it on their
really?
their YouTube channel and I was like, oh, they streamed the red carpet and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, I never see this. It's usually the MCU stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really interesting. Dark Phoenix is struggling. Not a lot of people are seeing it. It's got a really low Rotten Tomatoes score.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see it, and there's not really much to it.
Rest in peace, X-Men franchise.
Yeah. We should just get really excited about what's to come for that. I don't think there's a ton that we can say.
Let's just move on to the next thing.
Which I have as the Wonder Woman poster that was released.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's coming out in roughly a year from now.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Poster looks great.
I'm glad they have a full suit of armor because that's I love that look for Wonder Woman where she's got the full armor suit instead of it being almost like a weird corset thing.
Yeah.
Like a big. I mean, it's like light armor, but still, like I know she's invulnerable, but still, like I just think it's cool to have full armor
For sure.
And I think it makes more sense. And this poster was awesome. Like,
really good.
Was I hallucinating, or does it actually have like a W?
It does have a W.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool poster.
You're hallucinating.
Because it's like super neon.
Yeah.
It's like an acid trip or something.
Sure.
But,
very 1980s.
yeah. So when does it come out? Like June?
June 5th, I think, or something like that.
So it is about a year away.
Yeah.
That feels weird though, because it wasn't supposed
to be this year.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where I think Patty Jenkins said recently that she wishes that they had kept the release date because
It was like December?
I think it's November.
November. Okay.
But she says that the movie's coming along so great and they're like so excited about it that they wish they had kept it because they want to just, show everybody what they've done.
Yeah.
But it's okay. DC has a lot of really cool stuff happening next year. We should also mention that DC's not going to be at Hall H this year for Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because recently last year there wasn't a Marvel presence at all.
Yeah.
For Hall H. I'm not sure if they're going to be there this year or not. But that's just such a good platform for them to use when it comes to promoting their stuff, especially if Marvel's not there.
So excited about Comic-Con and like all of the stuff that they had, and like now I just feel like I'm never excited about Comic-Con.
It's kind of like diluted
because there's never like any movie stuff. Like I still love to go to Comic-Con for just the apps, like just for the presence of all of the like the cosplay and the booths and stuff. But like there's no reason I feel like anymore to go there because of movies or anything like that, like with Hall H.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember the last time the MCU even showed up.
It's been like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
The last
they
thing
usually do
they
it
did
at D23.
the last one that they did was, I remember them showing Guardians 2 stuff. So that was like 17
really?
or 16.
Okay.
Was the last time. So yeah, it's been a while. I really wish that DC was going to be there because they have so much coming out. Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, Joker.
Yeah.
And last year they showed off like a small clip or a trailer for Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
84.
that was right.
So they're probably getting close to finishing with that movie. I'm really excited. I think the colors of the poster looks great. I loved the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite comic book movies now. So I'm really excited for it. That's all I can really say about the poster. There's not really
there's not
much
a
to
whole lot to talk about the poster, but I just think it's neat that we got something about a year out.
You know what I'm really excited for?
What's
it's
that?
D23.
I'm more excited about D23 than I am Comic-Con.
Me too.
Honestly.
I'm really excited because I feel like we're going to get some sort of announcement. We're going to get the next slate of MCU films probably.
Yeah,
as well as what Star Wars movies may be coming in the future. So I'm really excited for that. That's Disney, next month, I think.
It's because Disney owns almost everything important in that stuff that it's like it's more excited because they can just
own everything now.
Yeah, they can just do it at their own platform. They don't have to be at Comic-Con.
Exactly. For free.
Yeah, pretty
basically.
Much. Like it's their own booth to promote or their own show to promote literally everything they own. So, which is pretty cool to be honest. And so that's in July.
Yeah, I think end of July is around that time that comes out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Let's get to some more MCU news. There was a small image that was released for.
Was it released or was it leaked?
It looks like maybe it had been leaked.
Okay.
Just a small image of Kevin Feige at a investors conference, I believe, talking about Loki. Mm-hmm. And then you can see a small image in the background of Loki, the show, which I guess they're filming already.
Yeah,
I had no idea about that, but really cool to see. In the image, it looks like Loki's in the 1970s.
Yeah,
I think they said 1975.
Like 1975.
Yeah, it's really cool. You see like a Jaws, some sort of Jaws poster or something like that in the background. Can't remember exactly what it was. But I think that's pretty interesting. If they're already filming that, then it's probably going to get released right around the time that the Disney Plus service gets released. I mean, if they're
you think
already
it's going to be that soon?
I think it could be. If they're already filming it,
I feel like it's going to be like early next year.
You could be right.
Because
they have to have something.
It depends because we still don't know with Disney Plus's format if they're going to release it episode by episode or if they're releasing it like one big thing. Because like if they're doing episode by episode, then they can continuously do production.
Yeah.
And they could get the first episode done, no problem. But if they're gonna drop all the episodes at once, that like Netflix style, then that could be different.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do episode a week.
That's what I'm kind of getting the feeling too, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that'll
It's
draw
gonna keep
out.
people subscribed
Yeah.
to their service, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Especially
the way.
with the prices being like $5 a month, I think is what's out there.
It's very cheap. Yes.
So they're gonna need people to stay subscribed to that. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about that other than people are losing their minds.
I think
on the
people said
internet.
that it kind of confirms that he is going back in these pieces, like these time periods, and like messing with them. I guess that's what people are. That was rumors a while back, and now that's what they're speculating is that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, this could be like a side story from.
I don't think it's going to be integral to the MCU at all.
No. It's just a way to give us a little bit more Loki, which is one of the most popular characters.
I think the
for
most
Marvel.
important show for the Marvel stuff is going to be Winter Soldier and Falcon, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because that's like characters that we know are still alive.
It's going to be like current events.
Yeah. Because like WandaVision, which is still such a stupid name. Like I don't understand.
That takes place like what, in the 50s or something like that?
What?
Yeah, they're going way back for that one.
How does that even work?
I don't know. I promise you though, you can look it up. It's set in like the 50s, I think.
What? I need to know more about what's going on in the MCU right now.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little bit everywhere.
I'm like, all right. After Endgame, I'm like, what is going on now? Like, that's why I'm excited for.
Yep, Scarlet Witch and Vision TV series. This is from Nerdist. Will take place in the 50s.
What the heck?
Yeah,
I'm not even sure how that's gonna work, but okay.
it's a little bit confusing. Are you worried at all about the MCU and like how we've gotten so used to having like a very strict and linear timeline?
Yeah.
And now we're getting multiverses and things taking place.
I'm mostly concerned about
Past.
the multiverse than I am anything else, but I'm like, I hope they're not like doing too much at once now. Like I feel like they're doing I feel like they should have started off with just one show, and that should have been Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think that would have made the most sense.
Yeah.
And then gradually added shows. But
WandaVision's going to be really tough. I'm assuming that some of these shows are going to take place in an alternate universe.
I guess.
Vision's dead.
But when it's in the alternate universe, then I just don't care.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
I'm like, I don't like. I know Spider-Verse is different, where it's like a thing where like they're in different universes, but they all like they
always
interact
come
with each
together.
other. But I'm like, if it's gonna just be in this alternate universe where it never matters, like I don't really care about Wanda.
I can
and
see
Vision.
myself watching a few of those episodes and then eventually being like,
I'm kind of bored of this.
yeah. I'm like, but I like this one. I like Bucky and Falcon.
That's the
and
thing is
Maybe
I'm
I'll
like-
stick to that.
Yeah, like that's what I care about the most is with Bucky and Falcon,
Yeah.
because I'm like they're still alive. This could easily take place.
I could
after
still
Endgame.
really enjoy Loki, I think, just because of my love for the character. But if
Yeah.
we're like talking about characters that I don't love, like Vision, I don't really care about. I actually like Wanda,
I like both Wanda and Vision, but I'm
but
like,
she's also still alive, and there's still more to do with her. I think in our current universe of the MCU.
yeah, that's the thing, and I'm actually just kind of disappointed that Vision isn't alive still. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, they could. No, they destroyed all the stones. There's no way, unless. I mean, I feel like there's a way that they could bring Vision back, like
They
in
can
terms
steal
of like,
him from an alternate universe and bring him back.
I would hate that. That would bother me so much.
That's the problem though of opening up the idea of having a multiverse.
Well, I think is like if they bring it back, like bring it back in the sense that they can just make new tech, and like
Oh, they could do
because,
that.
because they were gonna take the stone away from
That's
his
so
mind.
true. They
I'm like-
still probably have like
I'm like
Jarvis
they
somewhere.
still have his corpse. Like,
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm like he's not a person. That's the thing is like he's a robot.
Yeah, they could bring him back to life if they still have his like consciousness.
Yeah.
And like all the tech.
I mean, Shuri was straight up going to take away the stone and let him still be alive. Like,
Yeah.
They were gonna,
So the stone shouldn't have just. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool if they did something like that.
then I'm like, why the 50s? Like,
The 50s thing makes no sense.
I mean, because
to
they
me.
have time travel now, but I'm like,
unless there's some sort of there could be something going on with it where it's kind of like interconnected with Loki. Maybe Loki's hopping around from different times, and messing things up, and then maybe some of the other characters are on these missions to kind of like stop him or like fix it or something like that.
I think I could see that, but it feels like too much of a stretch.
There has to be a specific reason for why they're in the 50s. Like, what's the point? What's their mission?
I think it's supposed to be maybe similar to, there was a Vision run that they did where it was kind of like that, where they were like had like a home life, and it was about like their family.
So they're just trying to live a normal life.
Yeah, and like that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, is it going to be something like that? And that's what my friend thinks, that it's going to be like them trying to accommodate real life and kind of like them building up a family and stuff. And then like maybe the 50s they want to do that.
I still really was hoping for like a House of M storyline, but I don't think that's ever going to happen now.
I don't think so either. At least not for a very long time.
Yeah, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's really confusing.
I don't know. The Disney Plus things are kind of like mixed bags for me. But I'm just more interested to see what they're going to do with the movies at this point, and D23 isn't too far off.
No.
So that's what I'm most interested in, I guess. Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So we can hop into our next topic. Last topic of today's show is that Swamp Thing, which has only released one episode.
Oh yeah.
Is officially canceled. This is really sad. When I saw this, at first I was like, man, it must have been bad. I was like, maybe nobody watched it.
Swamp Thing got amazing reviews.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. And then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score where it's like over 90%, which is really good for a comic book TV show.
Definitely
in
one
my
of the
opinion.
best. Yeah, and I was I heard it was like really gritty and dark, and it had a very high budget, but that's also what you're probably about to say.
Yes. I'll start off by saying that I don't know anything about Swamp Thing. Haven't read anything. I've seen him pop up in like some DC animated things.
Yeah.
And that's it. Justice League Dark, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not really familiar with the character, but I have friends. I have two friends that I can think of who are just massive Swamp Thing fans, and they were really disappointed to hear this news. And they liked the pilot of the show, or the first episode. So yeah, I feel bad for the people who created the show, and for all the fans who finally are getting a Swamp Thing, and it's not there. The character design actually looked really cool.
Yeah, his character design looked like just like the comics. I was like, that's crazy.
It was one of those things though that I was like, because I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score, I was like, maybe I want to check it out.
I would love to give it a shot. I just don't have a DC membership thing, but it seems worth it because all of Teen Titans is on there apparently, and I love Teen Titans.
Same.
So
and
Young Justice.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently the problem that they were having was that they were supposed to receive some sort of tax write-off. For the show, which was gonna be close to around $40 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
and they didn't get that tax write-off. And then there's also rumors that there were some creative differences with the show, which just blows my mind. So that's mainly the issue. It has little to do with how the show's performing views-wise, or how it's being received, which is just such a bummer. But after hearing about the Swamp Thing, I hope it does get picked up just for the fans of the character.
Yeah, for sure.
By somebody, even though it may dip in quality. But after hearing about this, and I've had some friends who are like really into what's going on in the DC TV shows. I think I've kind of decided that I do want to get a subscription, even if it's only for a month, for the DC streaming service.
Yeah.
What's that actually called? DC.
DC. I think it's just DC Universe.
Yeah,
or
that's
something
it.
like that.
Because I've heard some really good things about Doom Patrol. And I've wanted to check that out. And then there's Titans, which I've heard is okay or good.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. But it just sucks because I know that there's fans of the character, and they're not going to get it.
I really hope we get to a point with TV shows and movies, like something like we get to this thing where DC can finally get their stride going, because it's like they're constantly having trouble.
They've always
with this
done
stuff.
pretty solid with animated.
That's always been their strong
things.
suit.
I've always said this, and I'll stick by it to this day, is that I do believe DC has much stronger comic storylines than Marvel, and there's so much more potential. And it does bum me out that they haven't taken advantage of that.
It's really upsetting.
It's really, and it kind of boils down to executives getting their hands too deep into what's going on with the projects.
Yeah.
They're being very
their
indecisive.
own Kevin Feige.
Exactly. They're too indecisive and they're too reactionary to people.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you put out a trailer and it doesn't get received well, you still need to stick to your guns.
Like, imagine when Iron Man 2 came out. People did not like Iron Man 2 that much.
No.
People didn't like Thor: The Dark World that much.
If it was DC, they would have collapsed.
They would have been like, all right, we gotta
scrap the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, all right, we gotta think a new thing. Like, Marvel was like, no, we're gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
And it worked out fine.
Maybe Marvel had a vision and DC just is lacking that vision for where they're gonna go.
I totally agree. I think that's the problem. And if they just get their vision right, like, I think Zack Snyder had a really good vision. And I think it's a shame.
I honestly would have preferred, even though I didn't love what Zack Snyder was going for, I would prefer that they stuck to his thing and that we had this cohesive universe and they actually had an idea of where they were going.
Yeah.
As opposed to, we're just going to make all these films. Like, if we go down the list, there's probably like 20-something films that were rumored to be in production.
There was a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would have preferred that they stuck to that and maybe had his vision, but had different directors, come in. I actually was reading something. Apparently, Matthew Vaughn was in talks for Man of Steel 2, which he said is now like dead. Like there's nobody's doing it. It was a bummer. But I don't know where I was going with that, but I did read that, and I know you're such a huge Man of Steel fan and Superman fan. So it is a bummer to hear that. I don't know what's going on with DC.
I don't know, man.
They just need to get it together.
I hope the Batman does really good, even if it's just like and same thing with the Joker. Like, I hope these, but like the thing is these are very like they're not connected really to.
It's
the
exciting.
universe.
It's exciting that we're gonna get good movies, but for big time nerds like we want to see these characters together.
It's good for the general audience where they're like, oh, that was a cool standalone movie, but like they don't always care about these universes. But we've gotten so spoiled with the MCU, I feel like, that like, and even with the X-Men universe to an extent, which started it all, like we got so spoiled that now we get upset when it like there's these things. And I mean, for a long time, that's the way it was. You know? With Daredevil and the Blade movies, the Spider-Man movies, like
everything was separate.
All of those were separate, and like that was a different time. But now it's like we want to see these characters thrive and build and constantly grow.
You want to see the DC's version of Endgame.
Yes, that's the thing. And like I feel like Zack Snyder had a good plan.
I think he skipped too many steps.
Yeah,
in his plan.
That's the thing is I think it should have been drawn out more.
Exactly.
He was trying to get to the Infinity War and Endgame within like 5 years.
Yes.
And I'm like, he should have been like, it should have been Man of Steel, then Batman, then Wonder Woman.
Let's build all these characters up and make people love them.
The MCU had a solid formula. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Build it one by one by one. Get to Justice League. Make that be your Avengers moment. And then start introducing newer characters. Like, if you want to, do a Batgirl movie, or if you want to do a
Supergirl,
Supergirl, or if you want to do Nightwing or whatever, like you can do that stuff. Even Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was supposed to be like their Guardians of the Galaxy at least, or whatever. And maybe it would have been a cop out, but I'm like, these characters are so different. Like Harley Quinn is so much different than Gamora. Like it's like, or like it's like
that's the thing is I think they tried to avoid being too much like the MCU, but I'm like, your characters are so much different.
Yeah, you have a lot more to work with, and there's so many more stories with the DC characters. Like you can do so much with Superman. You can do so much with Batman. Like they have
some of the best stories. I'm telling you, like when I was growing up, DC comics were always more other than Spider-Man. Spider-Man was like always number one, but if I put Spider-Man aside, I always enjoyed reading DC comics so much more because they have some of the most iconic storylines.
Batman Beyond was my jam. Like imagine within 10 years they had like their Endgame moment. Their Justice League whatever United or Justice League Doom, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And then like right after that, like they'll say Batman dies. Okay?
Yeah.
So Ben Affleck was Batman for 10 years. He kind of was like not the RDJ like, but he was essentially like the big.
Yeah, he was what held the universe together.
And then they do a time jump and they do a Batman Beyond movie or whatever, or like or
then
something
it'd
like
be
that.
earned.
And then exactly, and like they could change it around or whatever, or like make it where he faked his death or something, or like and he's still like back in the shadows,
Sure.
you know. But like they could have done really cool stuff like that. Like they have all of these options. I love the different stuff they could do. A Young Justice movie would have been amazing. A Teen Titans movie, like it. They have so much to work with.
I love Young Justice so much.
I've actually only seen season 1 all the way through. I haven't seen season 2, even though it's on my. It's like I wanted to watch it. I got like halfway through season 2.
Did they take it off Netflix?
Probably because of DC.
Yeah,
Universe.
I think they did take it off Netflix. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get DC Universe. I wonder if they have like a free trial for like something.
I think they have like a 30-day free trial probably.
I might do that
maybe
tonight.
Even like a week or whatever. Yeah.
Sure.
If you do, let me know, because honestly, then maybe we could just like share an account and just
and
then just split the money.
It's only what, like $10?
Yeah.
Something like that.
You get a lot. You also get comics as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you get the shows and you get comics and like everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty solid streaming service.
I just want to check it out. I want to see what like other people are talking about. I haven't been a huge fan of like the CW shows or anything like that. Even like the Marvel TV shows other than Daredevil. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't really liked a lot of comic book television shows. Mm-hmm. But I think everything's worth giving a shot to.
Yeah, I think so, and I miss the CW shows really, because I used to be
when they started
into those. Yes,
me too.
Like, those first 3 to 5 seasons for Arrow, and then those first 3 seasons for the Flash, and then it was like after that, like
I used to get so excited for the Flash. Like I had Hulu, and I would never get to watch it the premiere night or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd get so excited for it to come out the next day.
Yeah.
It would be like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Flash season 1 was. It was
great.
Insane.
It was so good, and everything just kind of just started embracing the cheesiness of everything.
Yeah,
and it kind of went downhill from it.
I will say it like I said it to somebody else this past week. I'm like, they should have gone quality over quantity instead of doing like 20 episodes. Or 20 like they do anything from like 22 to like I think the most I've seen in one season is 25.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah,
and I'm like, use that budget.
And there's still like what 40 minutes.
Yeah.
An episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
it's exhausting.
I'm like, make a like 15 episode season.
Cut it in half, up the budget, and then make it
even
cool.
10 episodes. And that's the thing is like Arrow, they're doing this last season, they're doing like a 12 episode run or whatever. And I'm like, you should have been doing that from the beginning.
That's why you get so many stupid filler episodes.
That's the biggest.
That go nowhere.
CW is the biggest culprit of filler by far. And it's also like they'll have really bad special effects. And it like these really subpar villains, just filler crap. That's like, all right, I just wasted an hour of my week.
I waited a week for this.
Yeah. Like I'm like, I'd rather if you just like had made better episodes and like and spaced it out, or like I don't even know, but it's kind of tragic. I do miss it though, and I'm almost considering like going back and like watching like doing some recaps of Arrow or whatever, and then watching this last season.
I could watch the first 3 seasons of Arrow all over again, and I'd be happy with that.
Season 3, it pissed me off so much. There was some times that I did not like, because they did this moment in like halfway through season 3 where like they make you think that like Oliver dies, and I was like, ooh, they could go something really cool with this, and then they just kind of throw it out the window, and I was like, okay. I was like,
okay,
thanks, appreciate it. Like the thing with the Flash season 1 was great, and then season 2 I was like, not accepting where I was. Like season 2 I was pretty happy with, and season 3 I was like,
dude, I spent like $50 on a Flash season 2 steelbook.
Are you serious?
I kid you not. I was in Best Buy, and it came out I remember it coming out that day.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh my god, I need this. And that's because I was just so into the show at the time. And I wish I could show all of our viewers, but that's the steelbook that I bought when it came out.
That is a pretty cool steelbook.
Yeah, and then that night I just rewatched like all the episodes.
All of them?
Not all of them, but all the disc art was really cool and everything like that.
Yeah,
that was probably like I think that around that time Batman versus Superman was about to come out or something like that, and that's probably my peak excitement because
of DC,
not just even DC, just like comic books in general, because that was before like there was all this divisiveness between fans, and Marvel was thriving, Civil War was going to come out, and then Batman vs Superman was going to come out, and like all the things that I loved, and then we had just got off of The Force Awakens like a few months earlier.
Yeah,
all the things that I loved were like doing so well. And then everything just started to just turn the wrong direction for whatever reason.
I miss that hype. I miss those times where
Endgame really did something to like spark some more excitement in me for comic book movies.
Yeah.
And just fandom in general. And now I'm like so excited for Spider-Man Far From Home. I've been on like a Spider-Man high lately.
Yeah.
Ever since coming back from Disney and seeing all the Spider-Man
yeah
merchandise everywhere.
And I went to QT and there was all these like Spider-Man Far From Home like Doritos bags and stuff.
Yeah.
One with Mysterio and
You're
I'm
like,
oh, Mysterio.
Dude,
I
I actually bought one of each, even though I don't even eat Doritos.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got the Mysterio and the Far From Home one, and then like I bought a bunch of Spider-Man stuff in Disney, and just seeing all the merchandise was just so cool
to see Spider-Man at Disney.
Exactly. And then I was like, man, I couldn't get over it. And then I got home and I started reading like some Spider-Man comics. I just read Kraven's Last Hunt this past week.
I need to I've always wanted to read that comic.
The ending is just so good. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's such a different ending from what you would expect. But it's really good. It's really worth reading if you can find it online or buying it. I went to a comic book store to try to find a physical, and they didn't have it.
Check Amazon.
Yeah. So I ended up like getting the digital download of it.
Yeah.
And it's so good. The ending's great. And then I've been playing like Spider-Man PS4. I'm like restarted that. So I'm just on a Spider-Man high.
I heard you beat it all and stuff.
I finished it all at 100%.
Speaking of Spider-Man games, like I was watching the Xbox press conference today, and somebody just spontaneously was like, remaster Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and I was like, yes, that would.
You think they would do that?
No.
Yeah,
oh, no,
that was one of the best Spider-Man games.
Maybe, but I thought it was. Like, I think it had one of the best stories of any Spider-Man game because it was cool. Like I love the black suit stuff so much. Like it's just so cool to me.
That's one thing I wish that we had some sort of. I'm sure we'll get it in the next Spider-Man game, but was like some sort of version of the symbiote suit.
Oh, it's guaranteed going to be in the next game, especially with the
oh my god, I'm excited.
Yeah.
God,
I want to see what
2 more years.
I want to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I've been so happy with everything that they've done with Spider-Man in this video game.
Yeah.
Interpretation of him, even down to the side characters like Miles, and I loved Aunt May.
I guarantee in the next one we're also going to be able to play as Miles.
It's going to be so cool.
Because I guess we played as Miles in the first game, but I mean like Spidey Miles.
Yeah, those missions were like some of my least favorite.
That's the
all the sneaking around and stuff.
I was like, give me back to playing as Spider-Man.
That's the one thing, like, because I just restarted Spider-Man PS4. I just can't stop playing it. And the one thing that I get bored of really fast is like running around as MJ, because I always get caught. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. And then she's like, wait. Yeah, like every single time I get caught, and I get really annoyed. I get frustrated with that. But other than that, the game's like flawless.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
so fun.
We're gonna wrap up this episode. Grayson's gonna finish watching E3, and he'll be covering stuff for tomorrow's tomorrow's stuff on Twitter.
I will be on Twitter
for the Avengers project, or Marvel's Avengers, which I'm really excited to find out more about.
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. Leave us a review. Do anything that you can to give us some sort of positive word of mouth.
Even just tell it to your friends. You're sitting there at dinner with your family.
Even
and you're like, hey,
if
Dad.
you don't feel like listening to us for an hour, just play the podcast or download it.
Yeah.
And then go do something else.
Yeah.
Or while you're playing Spider-Man tonight, just play the podcast in the background.
Yeah.
That helps us out. We really want to get things going because we have big plans for the future.
The bigger and better we get, the more we
can invest into this.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Do all of that stuff. All of our links to our social media and everything is in the description down below. Anything else you want to add, Grayson?
I'm just hyped for E3 right now.
One more thing.
What?
One more thing.
What? One more thing.
Yeah. One more thing.
Oh, Shazam!